Through the mud, through the rain, Liam carried old man Albert to a bench under a tree. He didn't put him down and walk away. Sat with him, keeping his arm around him so he wouldn't fall, using his own body to shield him from the rain. "Where's your family?" Liam asked. "My employer's coming. My aide was supposed to." Old man Albert's voice trailed off as they both saw Mrs. Jenkins still on her phone, still oblivious. The mud was like quicksand, thick and hungry, swallowing the wheelchair's wheels deeper with every second. 80-year-old old man Albert Kensington's arms burned as he tried to push himself free. Rain pelting his face, mixing with tears of pure terror. His legs, weakened by decades of loyal service and a lifetime of aches, hung uselessly as the chair tilted dangerously sideways. "Help!" His voice cracked, barely audible over the storm. "Somebody, please." The aide who was supposed to be watching him stood 50 feet away under a tree, her back turned, lost in a phone call. 3 joggers had already passed, their eyes sliding over him like he was invisible. Just another problem they didn't want to deal with. That's when 14-year-old Liam Harper appeared, grocery store uniform soaked through, his worn sneakers already sinking into the mud as he ran toward old man Albert without a second's hesitation. "I got you," Liam shouted, not asking if old man Albert needed help, not worrying about his only good shoes, not thinking about the phone in his pocket that would be ruined. He just acted. Liam ripped off his work shirt, using it to create grip on the wheelchair handles. When that wasn't enough, he grabbed branches, anything he could find, wedging them under the wheels for leverage. When the chair wouldn't budge, he made a decision that would have shocked anyone watching. He lifted old man Albert out of the chair completely, cradling the elderly butler against his chest. "Put your arms around my neck," Liam instructed gently. "I'm going to carry you out." Old man Albert, who'd been taught his whole life to be careful about who touched him, who helped him, who he trusted, wrapped his arms around this stranger without question. Because in Liam's eyes, he saw something he rarely saw in anyone except his longtime employer. He saw someone who saw him as a person, not a problem. Liam's feet slipped and slid as he carried old man Albert through the mud, his back straining, his breath coming in gasps. But he never loosened his grip, never let old man Albert feel unsafe, never made him feel like a burden. By the time Victor Harrington's Bentley screeched to a halt at the park, Liam was sitting on a bench, both of them covered head to toe in mud. Old man Albert still in Liam's arms, crying but smiling, refusing to let go. "He saved me, sir," old man Albert whispered. "When everyone else just walked by, he saved me. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back to where it all began." 3 hours earlier, Liam Harper stood in his tiny apartment's kitchen, counting bills. $20 for groceries, $15 for his grandmother's heart medication, $7.32 left for everything else until his next paycheck. "Baby, you're going to be late for work." His grandmother, Clara, called from her bed. At 71, she'd raised Liam since he was 2 after his parents died in a car accident. Now her heart was failing, and Liam was raising himself. "Just making your lunch, Grandma," Liam called back, spreading peanut butter thin on bread, saving the good stuff for her sandwich. What happened next still gives me chills. Liam worked at Grayson's grocery every day after school, stocking shelves for minimum wage. It wasn't much, but it kept the lights on and bought Grandma's medicine sometimes. When it didn't, he picked up extra shifts, mowed lawns, did anything he could. That afternoon, the rain started during his shift. His manager, Mr. Grayson, looked at the weather and shook his head. "You walking home in this, Liam?" "Yes, sir. It's not far." "Take an umbrella from aisle 3. Consider it a bonus." Liam's pride wanted to refuse, but thinking of Grandma, he accepted. "Thank you, sir." The route home took him through Riverside Park, the fancy one with the perfect playground and smooth paths designed for wheelchairs and strollers. It was a shortcut that saved him 20 minutes. 20 minutes he could spend with Grandma before she fell asleep. Little did they know, this decision would change everything. Meanwhile, across town in a gleaming medical building, Victor Harrington sat in another doctor's office holding another report that said the same thing. His longtime butler, old man Albert's mobility issues were permanent. No surgery, no treatment, no amount of money could fix his legs. But his spirit, Mr. Harrington, the doctor said gently. That's what needs protecting now. The world can be cruel. He needs to know he's more than his disability. Victor nodded, his throat tight. Ever since his wife died 5 years ago, It had been just him and his household staff against the world. And lately, Old Man Albert had been pulling away, spending more time alone, refusing to try new things. He won't even go to the park anymore, Victor admitted, as people stare. Wait, I need to tell you something crucial here. That very morning, Old Man Albert had begged to go to the park one more time. Maybe today will be different, he'd said. Maybe today someone will want to talk with me. Victor had hired a new aide, highly recommended. Expensive. Mrs. Jenkins seemed perfect, professional, experienced, confident. Don't worry, Mr. Harrington. I'll take excellent care of him. But Mrs. Jenkins had her own problems. The daughter going through a divorce, lawyers calling constantly. She'd figured one phone call at the park wouldn't hurt. Old Man Albert was old enough to entertain himself for a few minutes. Those few minutes would nearly cost Old Man Albert his life. Can you imagine how terrifying that must have been? Old Man Albert had wheeled himself toward the pond to feed the ducks, the path turning muddy from the rain. One wheel caught in a deep rut, and suddenly he was tilting, sinking, stuck. Mrs. Jenkins, he'd called. Thud-oh, but she was deep in conversation, her back turned, the rain drowning out his voice. The mud was like glue, pulling him deeper. His expensive wheelchair, designed for smooth surfaces and gentle slopes, was useless against nature's grip. A woman with a stroller hurried by, avoiding eye contact. A man in a suit actually stepped around him, muttering about being late. Old Man Albert felt invisible. Worse than invisible, inconvenient. They had no idea they only had 17 minutes before everything would change. That's when Liam appeared, taking a shortcut home. He saw the man in the wheelchair, saw the panic in his eyes, saw everyone else pretending not to see. Liam didn't think about his only good shoes, didn't think about his phone that couldn't get wet. Did I think about the fact that this was clearly a well-off butler whose problems were his responsibility? Just saw a man who needed help? Hey, Liam called out, already running. Hold on, I'm coming. Actually, let me pause here because this detail is important. Liam's grandmother had always taught him, baby, we may not have much, but we have our hearts, and hearts are for helping. He'd grown up watching her share their last dollar with neighbors, watching her take in kids whose parents were working late, watching her live the truth. The community meant carrying each other. So Liam didn't see Old Man Albert's fine clothes or wonder why his aide was unhelping. He just saw a scared elderly man alone in the rain, and his grandmother's voice in his head. Hearts are for helping. The mud fought him for every step. His shoes, the ones he'd saved for 3 months to buy, filled with water and muck. His phone with all his photos of Grandma, sparked and died in his pocket. His work shirt, which he needed clean for tomorrow's shift, became a tool. What's your name? Liam asked as he worked, trying to keep Old Man Albert calm. Albert? I'm Albert. I can't move my legs. That's okay, Albert. I got you. We're going to get you out of here. What happened next still makes my heart race. When Liam realized the wheelchair was truly stuck, he made a quick decision. Albert, I'm going to pick you up. Okay, put your arms around my neck. Old Man Albert had been carried before by his employer, by nurses, by aides. Always carefully, clinically, like he was fragile goods. But Liam lifted him like he was lifting a friend, strong and sure and unafraid. You're not heavy, Liam said, even though Old Man Albert knew he was. My grandma says I'm strong as an ox. Been carrying groceries up 5 flights of stairs since I was 8. Through the mud, through the rain, Liam carried Old Man Albert to a bench under a tree. He didn't put him down and walk away. He sat with him, keeping his arm around him so he wouldn't fall, using his own body to shield him from the rain. Where's your family? Liam asked. My employer's coming. My aide was supposed to. Old Man Albert's voice trailed off as they both saw Mrs. Jenkins, still on her phone, still oblivious. It's okay, Liam said simply. I'll stay with you. But that's when they discovered something that made their blood run cold. Old Man Albert was shivering violently, his lips turning blue. The rain and mud and fear had dropped his body temperature dangerously. We need to get you warm, Liam said, immediately pulling off his hoodie, his only jacket, and wrapping it around Old Man Albert. Here, lean against me. Body heat helps. That's how Victor Harrington found them. His butler covered in mud, wrapped in a stranger's hoodie, being held by a teenage boy who looked like he'd been through a war. Albert. Victor ran from his car, not caring about his 1,000 shoes hitting the mud. Oh my God, are you okay, sir? Old Man Albert reached for his employer but didn't let go of Liam. This is Liam. He saved me. Everyone else they just walked by, but he saved me. Victor looked at this boy, soaked, muddy, shivering without his jacket, still making sure old man Albert was stable and safe. Thank you, he said, his voice breaking. Thank you doesn't even begin to cover it. Just did what anyone would do, sir? Liam said quietly. No, old man Albert said firmly. You did what no one else did. You saw me. In exactly 10 minutes, a conversation would happen that would change 3 lives forever. Victor fired Mrs. Jenkins on the spot, then turned his full attention to Liam. Please, let me drive you home. Let me thank you properly. Liam's first instinct was to refuse. They didn't take charity, him and Grandma. But he was so cold, and home was still 30 minutes away. Okay, thank you, sir. Bentley felt like another world. Leather seats that probably cost more than Liam's entire apartment. Heated seats that made his frozen bones ache with relief. Old man Albert held his hand the entire ride as if afraid he'd disappear. Turn left here. Liam directed to his neighborhood, watching Victor's eyes in the mirror, waiting for the judgment. But Victor's face showed only focus on getting Liam home safely. The apartment building was old, with graffiti on the walls and a broken elevator. Liam was embarrassed, but held his head high. This is me. Thank you for the ride, Mr. Harrington. Wait, old man Albert said. Can we come up? Want to thank you properly. Please. Liam looked at these people. The wealthy employer and his loyal butler, wanting to come into his tiny apartment. It's not fancy. It's where you live, old man Albert said simply. The person who saved me. That makes it special. Little did they know what they'd find upstairs would change everything. Grandma Clara was sleeping when they arrived, her breathing shallow and raspy in the dim apartment. Liam's heart sank. She'd been getting worse lately, but seeing her through Victor and old man Albert's sighs made it real in a way he'd been avoiding. Grandma, Liam whispered, touching her shoulder gently. We have visitors. Clara's eyes fluttered open, confusion crossing her face as she took in the muddy teenager. The man in the wheelchair and the man in the expensive suit standing in her tiny living room. Baby, what happened? You're all wet and I'm okay, Grandma. This is old man Albert and his employer, Mr. Harrington. I helped old man Albert at the park today. What Victor saw next made his chest tighten with emotion he couldn't name. Clara tried to sit up, her hands shaking with the effort. The apartment was spotless despite being old. Liam clearly worked hard to keep it clean, but Victor's trained eye saw what Liam probably didn't want him to see. The pills lined up on the counter with dates written on them to make them last longer. The nearly empty refrigerator visible through the open kitchen. The stack of medical bills on the table marked final notice in red. Ma'am, Victor said, his voice gentle. Your grandson saved my butler's life today. May we sit and talk? Of course, Clara said, trying to smooth her hair, embarrassed to be caught in her nightgown. Liam, get our guests some water. Sorry we don't have much to offer. You've already given me everything, Victor interrupted. You raised a grandson who sees people in trouble and runs toward them instead of away. It's worth more than anything money can buy. But in exactly 8 minutes, Victor would learn something that would break his heart. Old man Albert wheeled closer to Clara's bed. Mrs. Harper, Liam didn't just save me. He ruined his shoes and his phone and his work shirt. And when I was scared, he stayed with me. He didn't leave. Clara's eyes filled with tears as she looked at her grandson. That's because his mama and daddy raised him right before. She stopped, the old grief still sharp. And I've tried my best since. You've done more than your best, Victor said firmly. Liam, may I speak with you and your grandmother privately for a moment? Liam wanted to refuse. He knew what was coming. Pity, charity, the kind of help that made you feel small even as it lifted you up. But Grandma was looking at him with hope in her eyes, and he couldn't take that away from her. Okay, he said quietly. Little did they know, the next conversation would test Liam's pride like never before. Victor pulled out his phone, showing them photos of old man Albert from years before, walking briskly, serving with grace, tending the estate. This was before the years caught up, a fall down the stairs when he was 70. His employer at the time passed away. Old man Albert's spine was damaged, and his voice cracked. I would have given every penny I have to change places with him. Clara reached out, taking Victor's hand. But you couldn't. All you could do was support him through it. Yes, and teach him that his worth isn't in his legs, it's in his heart, his mind, his spirit. Victor looked at Liam. Today you showed my butler something I've been trying to teach him for years. You showed him that disability doesn't make him invisible, that there are still good people in the world who will help without expecting anything back. Liam shifted uncomfortably. I just did what anyone would do, but that's where you're wrong, Victor said gently. 3 people passed my butler before you got there. 3 people saw a disabled elderly man stuck in the mud in the rain and they kept walking. Can you imagine carrying that knowledge that people saw you suffering and chose to look away? Mr. Harrington, Liam said carefully, if you're here to give us money, we can't accept it. My grandma raised me better than that. We don't take charity. Victor smiled, but it was sad. I understand pride, Liam. I really do. But what I'm offering isn't charity. It's gratitude. Yes. But it's also... He paused, choosing his words carefully. It's an investment in the kind of person this world needs more of. I don't understand, Liam admitted. What Victor said next would change everything. I saw the medical bills on your table. I see your grandmother struggling to breathe. I see a 14-year-old boy working minimum wage to buy heart medication. Victor's voice was steady but fierce. You saved my butler. Let me help save your grandmother. Mr. Harrington, Liam started, but Victor held up his hand. Liam, let me finish. I'm not offering charity. I'm offering a partnership. Let me arrange medical care for your grandmother. It's the best doctors, the medications she needs. In exchange, I'd like you to be Old Man Albert's companion. Liam blinked. His companion? Since the fall, Old Man Albert has pulled away from others. He's convinced no one sees past his wheelchair. But today, you didn't see his disability first. You saw a man who needed help. That's the kind of companion he needs. But there was more to Victor's offer. Something that would test Liam's pride even further. There's something else, Victor continued. Old Man Albert spends time at Riverside Academy events, one of the best institutions in the state. I'd like to offer you a full scholarship to attend before you refuse, he said quickly, seeing Liam about to protest. Hear me out. The scholarship is real. The Academy has a program for students who demonstrate exceptional character. What you did today? That's exceptional character, Clara gasped. Liam, Riverside Academy. That's the school with the science program you're always reading about. Liam's eyes widened. He checked out books from the library about Riverside's robotics lab, their advanced classes, their college preparation program. But he'd never dreamed he could actually go there. I can't, he whispered. I have to work. I have to help with Grandma's medicine. Now, the scholarship includes a stipend, Victor said. For your time as Old Man Albert's peer mentor, you'd help him navigate social situations, be his companion, show him that his disability doesn't define him. That's worth something, Liam. Let us pay you for it. In that moment, Liam faced an impossible choice. Pride warred with practicality in Liam's chest. His whole life, Grandma had taught him to stand on his own 2 feet, to never be beholden to anyone. But she'd also taught him that community meant accepting help when you truly needed it. Grandma, Liam looked at her, his eyes pleading for guidance. Clara was quiet for a long moment, tears streaming down her face. Baby, sometimes angels come in expensive suits. Sometimes help comes when you're too tired to keep fighting alone. Your mama and daddy would want you to have every opportunity. And this man, he's not offering charity. He's offering a chance. Mrs. Harper is right, Victor said softly. Liam, I've built my wealth on seeing potential and investing in it. You have more potential than anyone I've met in years. You have something money can't buy. A good heart and courage to match it. Let me invest in you. What Liam said next surprised everyone, including himself. Okay, Liam whispered, but with conditions. Victor raised an eyebrow, a smile playing at his lips. I'm listening. I still work weekends at Grayson's Grocery. Mr. Grayson gave me a chance when no one else would, and I won't abandon him. The scholarship stipend goes into a bank account for emergencies, not for spending money. Liam took a deep breath. If Grandma's health improves, we revisit the medical bills. Maybe I can pay you back someday. Victor's eyes grew bright with unshed tears. You're negotiating terms for accepting help? Your grandmother raised a remarkable young man, Deal, Victor said, extending his hand, with one condition of my own. What's that? Liam asked wearily. Sunday dinners? You and your grandmother join Old Man Albert and me for dinner every Sunday. Not as employees or charity cases, but as friends, as family. Actually, let me pause here because what happened next still makes me cry. Clara broke down completely, sobbing into her hands. Liam rushed to her side, holding her as she cried. "It's okay, Grandma. Everything's going to be okay now." "I was so scared," she whispered. "So scared I'd die and leave you alone with nothing. I've been praying for a miracle. And I think maybe this is it." Old man Albert, who'd been quietly watching from his wheelchair, spoke up. "Mrs. Harper, Liam gave me something today too. He gave me back hope. Hope that people can look past my wheelchair and see me. So really, you raised someone who saves people. It makes you pretty special too." They had no idea this was just the beginning of their story together. 3 months later, Liam walked through the halls of Riverside Academy in his new uniform, still not quite believing this was his life now. Grandma's health had improved dramatically with proper medication and treatment. She'd even started volunteering at the local community center, teaching kids to read. But the real miracle was happening right in front of him every day. "Liam, wait up," Old Man Albert called, wheeling down the pathway with a confidence he'd never had before. 3 other volunteers walked with him, real friends who'd gotten to know him because Liam had made it safe to approach the man in the wheelchair. "You ready for the robotics showcase?" Liam asked, grinning. "We're going to crush it," Old Man Albert said confidently. Mr. Jenkins said, "Our design is the most innovative one he's seen in years." What they'd built together was more than a robot. The robotics project was Old Man Albert's idea, a wheelchair attachment that could navigate rough terrain like mud, sand, or snow. "So, no elderly person ever gets stuck like I did," he'd explained. And Liam had helped him make it real, combining Old Man Albert's engineering vision with Liam's practical problem solving. But the project had attracted attention beyond their group. "Mr. Harrington wants to see you both after the event," their instructor said, smiling mysteriously. "Something about a patent attorney?" "A patent attorney?" Liam repeated, confused. "It's for your wheelchair design," the instructor explained. "It's revolutionary, boys. Companies are already asking about it. Can you imagine? People from completely different worlds creating something that could help thousands?" That afternoon, in Victor's office downtown, the pair learned that their design could indeed be patented and manufactured. "If you want to pursue this," Victor said carefully, "I can help, but this is your creation, your decision." Old Man Albert looked at Liam. "What do you think?" Liam thought about all the elderly folks like Old Man Albert trapped when the world wasn't made for their wheels. He thought about his grandmother's words, "Hearts are for helping." "I think we should do it," Liam said. "But any money we make should go to a fund to help families who can't afford the modifications their loved ones need." Victor's smile was brighter than the sun. "I'll match whatever you raise dollar for dollar." But the biggest surprise was still to come. That Sunday dinner, now a sacred tradition, Victor stood up with a glass of sparkling cider. "I have an announcement," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Liam and Old Man Albert exchanged confused glances. Grandma Clara smiled like she already knew a secret. 6 months ago, a young man saved my butler's life. But he did more than that. He saved our household. He brought light back into our home, hope back into Old Man Albert's eyes, and purpose back into my life." Victor's eyes were bright with tears. "Liam, you've become the young man I never knew I needed. And Old Man Albert, you've shown me that companionship isn't about years served. It's about choosing to show up for each other every single day." "Sir," Old Man Albert whispered, "what are you saying?" Little did they know, this moment would fulfill the promise made in mud and rain. "I'm saying that when Liam turns 18, if he agrees, I'd like to legally welcome him into the family, to make official what's already true in our hearts. That he's family, not as charity, not as payment, but as choice. We choose each other." The room went completely silent. Liam couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't process what he was hearing. "You want to welcome me into the family?" His voice came out small, disbelieving. "I want you to be part of our household," Victor said simply. "Both of you, companions by choice, if you'll have us." Clara was crying again, but this time with joy. "Baby, say something." What Liam said next came from the deepest part of his heart. "I already feel like Old Man Albert's close friend," Liam said slowly, looking at the man who'd become his best companion. "And you've treated me with more respect and kindness than I knew adults could show young people. You never made me feel less than. You never made me feel like I had to earn my place. You just chose us." "So is that a yes?" Old Man Albert asked hopefully, his eyes shining. Liam laughed through his tears. Yeah, it's a yes. But Grandma, baby, I'm not going anywhere, Clara assured him. I'll always be your grandmother. But having a mentor figure too, having a close ally that's not taking anything away. It's adding more people to love you. And God knows, you deserve all the love in the world. Companions, old man Albert held out his hand. Companions, Liam agreed, pulling him into a hug. Can you believe it? It's from mud and rain to family and home. 4 years later, Liam stood at his high school graduation. Valedictorian of his class, with a full scholarship to MIT, old man Albert sat in the front row in his wheelchair, cheering louder than anyone. Their wheelchair attachment had helped over 3,000 elderly folks worldwide. The fund they'd started had raised $6 million, matched by Victor's company, transforming lives across the country. But that wasn't what Liam talked about in his speech. When I was 14, Liam began, I was walking home from work in the rain. I saw an elderly man stuck in the mud, and I made a choice that changed my life forever. I chose to help. He looked at old man Albert. But what I didn't know then was that old man Albert was helping me just as much. He showed me that family isn't about where you come from. It's about who chooses to stand with you in the storm. What he said next brought the entire auditorium to tears. We live in a world that likes to separate people, rich and poor, black and white, disabled and able-bodied. But here's what I learned from my companion, my mentor, and my grandmother. Those lines only exist if we let them. Love doesn't see bank accounts. Courage doesn't see skin color. Family doesn't see limitations. That day in the park, 3 people walked past a disabled elderly man in trouble. They saw a problem and kept moving. But what if they'd stopped? What if they'd chosen compassion over convenience? What if they'd seen a person instead of an inconvenience? Every single day, we pass people who are stuck. Maybe not in mud, but stuck in poverty, stuck in prejudice, stuck in situations they can't escape alone. And every single day, we make a choice. Walk past or wade in. The entire crowd was silent, hanging on every word. My grandmother taught me that hearts are for helping. My mentor taught me that investing in people is the best investment you can make. And my companion taught me that true strength isn't in your legs, it's in your refusal to let the world make you small. So, here's my challenge to all of you. Find someone who's stuck. Wade in, get muddy, ruin your shoes, because you never know. The person you're helping might end up saving you right back. To the class of 2025, choose compassion. Choose courage. Choose to see people for who they are, not what they can do for you. That's how we change the world. One muddy moment at a time. A standing ovation lasted 5 minutes, and this is where the story gets even better. After graduation, true to his promise, Victor legally welcomed Liam into the family. The ceremony was small, just family, but it meant everything. You're officially my steadfast companion now, old man Albert teased. I'm younger than you, Liam pointed out. Doesn't count. You've got more stories. Victor watched his companions bicker with a joy he thought he'd lost forever when his wife died. She would have loved Liam, would have seen immediately what Victor had seen that rainy day. A young man with a heart as wide as the sky. Everyone, Victor said, calling them to attention. I have one more surprise, sir. You've already done too much, Liam protested. Possible, Victor said, smiling. This one is from all of us. Me, old man Albert, and Grandma Clara. He handed Liam a folder. Inside was the deed to a house. Not a mansion, but a beautiful, accessible home with wide doorways for wheelchairs. A workshop for their inventions, and a bedroom for Grandma Clara. We're all moving in together, Liam asked, stunned. Family should live together, Clara said, appearing from the next room with tears in her eyes. And I'm not getting any younger. Besides, someone needs to cook for you 3. What happened next proved that miracles are real. Liam broke down, overwhelmed by the weight of so much love. I don't deserve this. Stop, old man Albert said firmly, wheeling over to his companion. You deserve everything, Liam. You saved me, remember? Not just from the mud, from thinking I didn't matter, from believing my wheelchair made me less than. You saved me by seeing me. We all saved each other, Liam said softly. And that was the truest thing any of them had ever said. Years later, when Liam was running the charitable foundation he'd started with Old Man Albert, when Old Man Albert was designing accessible technology for elderly folks with disabilities, when Victor was teaching other business leaders about investing in people over profits, reporters would sometimes ask, "When did you know this would become such an amazing story?" And all three of them would smile and say the same thing: the moment Liam chose to wade into the mud. Because that's what this story is really about. Not about one dramatic rescue, but about the choice to help, the choice to see, the choice to believe that every person, regardless of their bank account, their ability, their race, or their situation, deserves to be seen, helped, and loved. But here's the thing that still gives me chills. On rainy days, Liam and Old Man Albert return to that park. They sit on the same bench where Liam first held Old Man Albert, keeping him safe, keeping him warm, and they watch people walk by. Most days they see good people helping each other, picking up dropped items, offering umbrellas, pushing wheelchairs up hills. But sometimes they see someone walk past a person in need. And when they do, they spring into action. They'll say, approaching the person who walked past. "Did you see that person who needs help?" Usually people are embarrassed. "I didn't, I was in a hurry." "It's okay," Liam says gently. We all get caught up in our own lives, but here's the thing. Help only takes a moment. Kindness costs nothing. And you never know when helping someone might change both of your lives forever. And Old Man Albert wheels forward. "I used to be that person everyone walked past, till one day someone didn't. Someone chose to see me." Be that person who sees. More often than not, the person they talk to goes back, helps, smiles, thanks them for the reminder. And that's the real miracle of this story. Because Old Man Albert wasn't the only person saved that day in the mud. Liam was saved from poverty, given opportunities his grandmother could only dream of. Victor was saved from grief, given new purpose and love. Clara was saved from watching her grandson struggle alone, given the joy of seeing him thrive. They all saved each other. Now they spend their lives teaching others to do the same. To wade into the mud to ruin their shoes. To see people as people, not as problems. That's what makes a family. Not blood, not money, not circumstance. Choice. The choice to show up. The choice to stay. The choice to love without conditions. The choice to see someone stuck and decide their worth. Getting dirty for? Here's what I want you to take from this story. Somewhere today, right now, someone is stuck. Maybe not in literal mud, but stuck nonetheless. Stuck in poverty, stuck in loneliness, stuck in circumstances they can't escape alone. And somewhere nearby, someone like you is walking past. Maybe you're in a hurry. Maybe you don't know how to help. Maybe you're scared of getting involved. But what if you stopped? What if you asked, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" What if you chose to see? Because here's the secret. Liam learned that rainy day. When you help someone else, you save yourself too. You become the person you were meant to be. Find family in unexpected places. You discover that the dividing lines we draw between people are meaningless. At the end of the day, we're all just people. Some of us get stuck sometimes. Some of us walk past. And some of us, the brave ones, the kind ones, the ones like Liam, choose to wade in. Be the person who wades in. Be the person who sees. Be the person who stays. Because you never know. The person you help today might become your companion, your family, your chance to change the world. And it all starts with a simple choice in the mud and the rain. If you enjoy this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more videos.